Ramani's a company based in Kenya, turning over about $3 to $4 million, employing about 50 people. It's a geospatial business, so it carries out aerial surveys, land surveys, uses satellite imagery for putting in things like roads, power lines, ports, airports, that sort of stuff. Once we decided on that, we had a very clear vision that we needed to get this done quickly because operations really kick-start in January when the dry season starts. So we had a very, very tight window to get us up and running, live, tested, and switched over to Nav. The Nav people suggested a rapid implementation, and we were able to set it up on the cloud initially, which meant we could do it in the Nav people's offices, and from start to finish, we were up and running within 3 days. The first meeting with the Nav people was really to scope out a combination of commercials and what technically had to happen to get us in a position to implement rapidly. So we were looking at the chart of accounts, getting our data ready so that we could map that into Navision. And then I went to Nairobi for a week where we ran through, got everything prepared, and then came back for 2 days and we implemented. We arrived here at Nav people on Monday morning and went through with Nav up on a screen and just literally loaded our data, went through the configuration process of the chart of accounts, went through the process of setting up the dimensions, and by the end of the day, we were ready.
We then spend the next 2 or 3 days doing a number of things. One is using the rapid start services approach to configure and set up the solution in the way that we've discussed on that first day, so that by the time they came back on the Friday, we effectively had a solution set up with their data ready to go.
We came back in on the Friday to follow through and test some of the processing to make sure that we got it set up correctly. So by the end of Friday, we were in a position to actually start processing invoices, and with a bit of training, we were ready to use the system.
So the beauty of having NAV and its flexible environment is when Craig came in on the Friday, we could run through those processes with him. And anything that needed changing, we were able to change as we went on the fly. We could replay the process through to them, and by the end of the day, they had a solution they could take away with them.
The typical implementation process of an ERP system may last 6 to 9 months. That soaks up huge amounts of management time. So there is a very clear hidden cost in terms of a long project of implementation. With the rapid implementation project, we were able to avoid those hidden costs.
With rapid start services for Microsoft Dynamics NAV, we were able to deploy the solution much quicker than we could in previous versions. The user interface is a much simpler interface, so it's a more common feel for users, so training and deployability is greatly increased. We used to implement Dynamics NAV on previous versions without Rapid Start, and a typical project would take about 20 days. Now using Rapid Start and Dynamics Nav 2013, we can do an implementation in about 3 days, which is an incredible improvement. A lot of companies shy away from doing an ERP project because it is such a big, broad thing to do. So the idea that you can do a small part of it very quickly and then use that as a foundation to grow the NAV implementation, it's an easier selling point for us as a partner. Cost for the customer and the risk for the customer is greatly reduced. So, Rapid Start has a lot of benefit and has a whole new market that we would never have gone after previously.
If I look back on the project, what really has been a great success is the approach that the Nav people have taken in terms of giving us a rapid solution. It was something we weren't aware of. They provided it, they understood exactly what needed to be done, and we're in a much better place because of it.